Coming up next on one of the hottest names in professional fishing. From Hot Springs, Arkansas, Spencer Shuffield exploded onto the scene at just 17 years old. And he's been lighting up leaderboards ever since, with major wins like the 2022 Pro Circuit title on the St. Lawrence River, the 2024 Challenge Cup on Lake Erie, and this year's U.S. Open Championship on Lake Mojave. Spencer has proven he's not just part of the game, he's changing it. Known for his pinpoint mastery of forward-facing sonar and relentless drive for Angler of the Year, get ready to meet a true force in modern fishing, Spencer Shuffield. Today's podcast is hosted by Jordan Werner. Learn more about Jordan by visiting younghammer.com or find him on social media by searching for @JordanWernerFishing. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Let's dive in.
Sweet. So we got Spencer Shuffield here today, and we're just going to go through and talk about how you got started and what made you want to be a professional bass fisherman and what just gave you the drive to do this.
Yeah, so for me, man, it's what I've always wanted to do. You know, I grew up, my dad, he fished professionally for 33 years. So he started probably about a year and a half before I was born. Got laid off where he was working, and you know, I'd always fished and borrowed a little money from his parents and started fishing and won one down on Lake Okeechobee right off the bat. So pretty much kick-started his career. You know, I was back in the day, it wasn't any technology or anything, and he was really good with a jig, so he made a living, man, throwing that jig, and got started doing that. So, you know, growing up, that's all I ever knew was fishing. And it's just been something I've always wanted to do, you know. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, I mean, I knew that's what I was going to do. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got started, you know. For me, been doing it ever since.
Yeah, that's cool. So what was like your earliest memories bass fishing and just getting that drive to really just, you knew you had this in you and you can do this?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, probably, I mean, I was fishing before I even remember. I mean, probably the earliest memory I've got is my dad taking me to some ponds. Probably my grandparents, his parents, had this huge creek ran through their property. They had a lot of property where they lived, and had a lot of cattle, and had this giant creek ran through. And it was a creek, it wasn't a river. It was the size of a river, but it real blue, pretty water, kind of like Lake St. Clair colored water. Had a lot of smallmouth, a lot of spotted bass, had a few largemouth in it, not a lot, but it did have a few largemouth, but a lot of spots and a lot of smallmouth. And you know, I spent a lot of time down there with them. My mom's parents, they had cattle as well. They had a lot of ponds, like 5, 6, 7 ponds, and they were all full of big largemouth, you know, that him and my uncles had stocked them with. So probably those. But I mean, I was fishing tournaments with my dad by the time I was 4. So those were really probably my core memories, were fishing the creek and the ponds. But really started, you know, getting it. I mean, even before tournaments, man, it was like that was my passion. My desire was to fish like my dad. And it wasn't just because my dad did it. Obviously, that's what got me introduced. But it was, man, I don't know. It was like I was just born with that passion to want to fish for a living. And but fishing little tournaments and stuff, when I started when I was 4 or 5 years old, fishing those tournaments, man, that just really fired me up.
That's awesome. That's kind of what I fished my first tournament when I think I was 12, and I just fished a little night derb, and that's kind of what got me going. And then I jumped into a youth club, and then just started fishing tournaments since then got into the WON Bass stuff. I fished my first WON Bass when I was 16. When I was 15, it was my U.S. Open, and then I fished my first time as a boater at Havasu when I was 16, and that was just it just went from there.
Yeah. You know, I mean, I started when I was probably about 15. My football and basketball coach, they both loved to fish a lot, and I fished tournaments with them, and I always ran the boat and stuff. Had a next door neighbor lived beside my parents. He loved to fish and do a lot of trolling, which was fun too. I mean, for me, it's just reeling them in. Then, I reeling in anything was a blast. Now I'm very partial to just bass. I don't like catching hybrids, stripers. I don't like catching none of it. I just like catching bass. I go
Yeah.
catch some crappie and some walleye to eat, but now it's like a disappointment when you hook something and you realize it's not a bass. I mean, if you're fun fishing, especially with your kids or something, it's a, we'll target a different species every now and then, ones that are really easy for them to catch, like you would with any kid or an adult that's trying to get into fishing. But, um, anyways, our neighbor, he loved to catch, whatever would bite. And, he had a boat and we did a lot of crappie fishing and he always let me run the boat, make the decisions and run the trolling motor. And I'm talking about, man, this was when I was as young as 12, 13 years old. So that really got me a head start too. I mean, I was literally making decisions on the water, whether it was a tournament or not. I was driving the boat, I was running the trolling motor. I mean, I learned a lot about boat control and stuff when I was very young. So, yeah, I mean, I've always been in and around it.
Yeah. Just it's getting to learn how to run a boat at a young age helps a lot. 'Cause
Yeah, no doubt.
I was able to learn with my buddy Danny because he's the reason why I'm fishing at in like the one basses and stuff. And so he showed me how to use active target and
Hmm.
like before, like Garmin had Garmin Live Scope when it was still Panoptic. So I started with active target and just got to learn how to use a bass boat, and because it's a lot more different than fishing out of the deep V.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. No doubt.
You don't
Especially
just
when
sit.
there's a lot of wind.
Yeah. But so let's get into it. So you come out to your first U.S. Open, and how was that experience coming out to your first U.S. Open?
Yeah, my first one was in 22 when I came out, and mainly just wanted to go out to fish not only just to fish that event, but get to experience being out west and see what it looked like and the landscape and everything. And oh, it was just beautiful out there. It's totally different than around here. I mean, I've talked to a lot of guys out there that's never really been east before, but a time or two are like, man, it's so pretty out there and all the trees. And I feel the exact opposite coming out there. So it's just seeing something different, but it's just cool being out there in the desert and all the mountains and I mean, I don't know. I guess because they're naked and they don't have any trees, you notice them so much better.
Yeah.
We got lots of mountains around here, but I don't know if it's because you see them all the time or what, but you don't really notice them like you do out there. Um, but coming out there and fishing that first U.S. Open was a really cool experience because I didn't really know what to expect. I knew of the U.S. Open and seen quite a bit of stuff on it on social media and things like that, but didn't really know what to expect. And then after coming out there and fishing it and it being on Mojave, I think it was the first year it was on Mojave, it was 22, and just an incredible fishery, Um, just, I mean, I was excited to be going. Like I said, I want to fish meet. I've never fished it before. I know my dad, he had fished it a couple of times and he didn't like it. He said meat is not a very good lake. It's 10, 11 pounds a day is a pretty good bag back when they fished it then. I know it's gotten a lot better now since,
Oh, yeah.
especially since it's gotten smallmouth in it. But just so happened the first year I was really able and willing to come fish the U.S. Open was when they moved to Mojave. So hearing that about meat, I was even more pumped that it was going to Mojave. I did some YouTube, searching and saw that it was full of really quality smallmouth and largemouth, and you know, surprisingly pulled up there first day on the water and just absolutely crushed them. And I was, it just made it for a very fun first U.S. Open.
Yeah, the
Been
U.S.
hooked
I
ever since.
win every year.
Yeah,
I'll never miss a U.S. Open.
yeah,
Doesn't matter
yeah.
where it's at. Billy does such a good job with that tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It's just such a fun surrounding. Everybody's cool, and it's just such a fun tournament. And it was so cool to watch you win this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the one that's been on my bucket list since I came here in 22. Like, when I rolled up 22, it wasn't like I expected not to do any good. I mean, I fish any tournament, whether it's on a body of water I've never fished for, or with a group of guys I've never fished against. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'm out there with intentions to win, whether you do or not. I mean, it's really hard to win, especially this day and time with technology like it is. Everybody's really good. That's the thing about live scope is it makes it such a level playing field nowadays. Back in the day before scope, it wasn't necessarily as level of a playing field as it is now because a guy could keep things to himself. He could have a special technique. You didn't have the social media back then. So it was easy for guys to lie about how they caught them, and you didn't actually figure out how they caught them or were catching them for years down the road. Uh, you just can't do that now. I mean, everything's such a level playing field with social media and live scope. I mean, guys that complain about scope is just because they're not willing to get out there and learn it, or they can't wrap their head around it and fathom how it works. It's just, or pure laziness. That's all. That's basically what it boils down to, pure laziness. Uh, but, I didn't really expect to come out there and do as well as I did the first year. And, getting out there and fishing it and seeing how good it was and ended up finishing second that year, was just an awesome achievement for me. But after that, I just knew from that point forward that was a tournament. After I got a taste of it, that was a tournament I had to win. And then I realized, while I was out there that week in 22, how big that tournament actually was. And that was just, man, ever since then, that's the one tournament I wanted to win above all else. I mean, whether it was our Red Crest with the Bass Pro Tour or Bass Pro Tour regular season event, my sights have been on that U.S. Open ever since 22. Now that I finally accomplished it, after being so close, these past 4 years, it's a real sigh of relief, like I would love to win the darn thing 5, 10 more times, obviously, but I'm not going to be upset if I don't ever win it again. I just wanted to say I won the US Open one time. And
Yeah.
obviously, like I said, I'm going to try and win it every year I'm out there. But it was a real sigh of relief to get that thing done after being 2 seconds in it. I mean, that was really heartbreaking, honestly, when one of them was my fault, and the one I finished third in was my fault. Should have won both of those, but last year Brian Smith, he won it. He straight up just caught him. I mean, he legit beat me. I mean, I gave it everything I had. I caught him good every day, and just came up a little short. So yeah, it felt good to get that trophy this year.
Yeah. So coming on, how do you feel about the Bass Pro Tour, the new schedule?
Yeah, I like it, man. I mean, we got a good schedule this year. Starting out in Gunnersville, that's going to be a blast, and we're starting a month earlier, basically this year, at least 3 weeks earlier. We're starting mid-January. Um, got two events where we fished qualifying rounds on one lake, and then the next 2 days, the knockout round and championship round days are on different lakes. I always like those. I've always done well every time we do that. So. Uh, you don't have to manage your fish as much when you know you're getting to fish two totally different bodies of water. You can just go out and maul on them for the first, the 2 days because that's the only 2 days you're going to be there. That makes it nice. So other than that, we got one in my home state, Arkansas, up on Beaver Lake, which I've got a ton of experience on it, but only in tournaments. I've never been up there and just fished it. Red Crest is on one of my favorite lakes ever, which is Table Rock. And I got a bone to pick with it because I fished Toyota Series up there 2 years ago, and I was banking on winning that thing, and straight up they burned me. Um, so I'm looking forward to getting up there and fishing, which, my favorite time of year to fish Table Rock's really in that January time frame when the water's like in the upper 30s. low 40s. That's when it's just that place is incredible. But it's my second favorite time is when we're there for red crest when they're up spawning and stuff. It's a fun place. Yeah, I mean it's a really good schedule.
Yeah, I love Table Rock. We have a little cabin up there, and we spend some time up there quite a bit. It's such a beautiful lake. The bass are grown in there, and you can't go down any bank and not catch a 2-pounder. So
Yeah, no, you catch them everywhere. Yeah, it's a ball. That place is loaded with fish from end to end.
yeah, and then it's such a big lake. You can go anywhere.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
can get away from people. It's not like Mojave where you go down as you try to pull into a little cut and there's 12 boats in it already.
Yeah,
But
yeah, it can get jammed up in places there, no doubt. Table Rock, it spreads out. And plus, there's only 50 of us in that event, too. I believe 50, 55, something like that.
did they cut the field at all this year?
Yeah, there's only 51 this year fishing the Bass Pro Tour. I think top 30 in points make Red Crest, and then they bring in like 15 or 20 others through other MLF
Yeah,
circuits.
like the invitational guys that win, or
Yeah,
like I don't know how else
yeah,
to qualify for it, but
yeah. There's several different ways. You got like BFL All-American champion and every pro circuit event winner. They went back to that where each winner of a pro circuit event gets to fish a championship, which is great. But
it's like the
I mean,
Open.
yeah, and I don't even know if they still do that anymore, or not. I get letting the Toyota Series Championship champion fish. I agree with that. BFL American winner, I agree with that, but I don't agree with each pro circuit tournament winner getting to fish because I mean it is the Bass Pro Tour's championship, and they already have a championship of their own, uh, and that champion gets to fish the following Red Crest. I just don't think the regular season event champions should really get to fish the Red Crest, but that's the guys they're letting in, and I mean it is what it is. Still, a great fisherman either way.
Yeah, it's also taking money out of your guys' pockets if an invitational guy just rolls up and wins.
Yeah, well, it's just basically they've got 6 or 7 pro circuit events, so that's just 6 or 7 less BPT guys that could be qualifying for Red Crest, and I mean that is their livelihood. Some of these guys fishing the pro circuit, they're not having to qualify for it. You just pay your money and you get to get in, and anybody can get lucky and win a tournament. So yeah, I mean it is what it is.
Yeah, it's like the Opens. It's like because they take.
Yeah,
I think they still do the Opens thing with the Classic, but it's just those guys that I think there's 9 Opens. The 9 guys are just going to the Classic, but good on them. Still, they worked hard. Just they're going to the Classic, and not many people get to say that or say they get to go to Red Crest or.
yeah, yeah, and I mean those are the you know biggest championships in bass fishing. I mean you got the Bass Pro Classic and Red Crest, and I mean I'll put the U.S. Open right there with them. Honestly, I mean it might not. It might. I mean it obviously isn't as big as Red Crest or the Classic, but in my opinion, to me, it means as much as it would if I had won one of those. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It might not quite open the doors as some of those would. Um, and a lot of that is because U.S. Open, you don't have to qualify for it to be able to fish it. I mean, anybody can fish it. So, uh, which in a sense makes it even harder personally because you've got twice, 3 times as many guys fishing the U.S. Open as you do a Bass Pro Classic or Red Crest. I mean, you fish Red Crest, you don't have to beat but like 45 guys. You fish a Classic, you don't have to beat but like 50 guys. So it's honestly, in my opinion, it would be easier to win a Red Crest or a Classic because you got less competition. It's you know how it is. It's hard to win a tournament with over 100 boats in it. A lot of people catching fish that you would be catching that might would have helped you win that event. There's a lot of times you can't get on places you want to get on. There's a lot more boats running up and down the lakes. Fish probably don't bite as well as they typically would. It's harder to win big boat tournaments. Big boat number events.
Yeah, and the fish know at the U.S. Open. I had a great practice. My third cast of the morning on the second day of practice, I caught a 6-pound smallmouth.
Oh yeah, yeah,
And
that's a
that's a
giant for there.
Yeah, I was surprised. I could see this thing come up. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
There's like 6 boats around me. So I just sit down and I pull my bub out. I weigh it and I say, oh, see you later. I'll see you on Monday or Wednesday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sadly, I didn't see her again. She was gone. She
Oh
went,
yeah.
she went and did her own thing. But it was
Yeah.
cool to
Yeah.
see that fish, especially come out of that lake with all that pressure.
Mm-hmm.
But then I just ran that stuff the first day in the wind. I had battery problems, so I was just idling up just stuff. And I had my co-angler caught all of our fish. We had almost 14 pounds for 4, so we had a decent bag going. But
Yeah.
then I was able to actually use my live scope and stuff on that last day, and then it was just the fish just weren't biting. And then for some reason I started using 4-pound tests, and I broke off a few, and then I just threw it into my cooler and said see you later, and then started using 8 and 12, and then I was fine after that.
Yeah. Yeah, I use 10 and 12 out there. I can't tell that those fish are line shot. In fact, I've never been able to tell that fish are line shot. I mean, I travel all over the country, and I've never seen line size make a difference unless you're throwing a jerk bait or a crankbait or a trap or something. I mean, if the line size affects the action of the bait, then it makes a difference. But
Yeah.
as far as fish seeing it, I mean, I'm not going to say there's not a perfect situation out there where it's dead calm slick and it's 15 plus foot of visibility and it doesn't make some sort of a little bit of difference. But I think more than anything, it's all in our heads
Yeah.
because I've just experimented with it too much, and it really just doesn't make a difference. I mean, dude, you're talking to somebody that fishes 5, 6 days a week. I mean, I've been through it. It just doesn't typically, rarely does line size ever make a difference unless it affects the action of your bait. I mean, dude, I'll throw a Texas rig and a jig exclusively on 40-pound braid with a 25-pound fluorocarbon leader. Been doing that for like 3 years now, and I catch as many or more bass now than I ever have. And I don't care if I can see the bottom 25 foot deep or 2 inches. It's got 25-pound fluorocarbon as my leader, and I catch the dog out of them. It just doesn't really matter, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing to know, and for some people to know that are for using 2-pound line.
Yeah.
I've talked to some guys. They said they use 2 and 4. I'm like,
Yeah.
just tie your hair on there.
Yeah, I mean,
But
I've seen the color of the line make a huge difference. I've seen that make a big difference. I'll absolutely never throw a brown or a green, any kind of colored fluorocarbon ever. 100%. It's got to be clear. I will not use it.
because at that point, just throw braid with your drop shot. Just
Yeah, I
tie
mean,
braid.
I've just seen color make such a big difference. I mean, I have seen that make a difference. A guy throwing green fluorocarbon versus a guy throwing clear fluorocarbon. A guy throwing clear is going to outfish a guy throwing green every single time, unless the water's red mud.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes that. I've tried both just to see, and clear always works better.
Yeah, 100%.
Because if brown was working, I would just throw straight braid. I'd tie
Yeah,
a drop
for
on
sure.
braid.
Mm-hmm.
Going on. So when did you qualify for the pro circuit,
The Bass Pro Tour?
or did you fish the elites at all? Were you on the elite series?
No,
No.
I've never fished any BASS events. I fished one team championship that that deal where they qualify to get to the Bassmasters Classic. I fished one of those,
Yeah.
and that's the only bass sanctioned event I've ever fished in my life.
Oh, so like the ones they gave out at One Bass, those blue tickets.
No, this was back in the day when they had these big team tournaments. I mean, I say back in the day, they still do it now, but states have big team tournaments. We had the Arkansas Bass Team Trail, and basically what it is top five in AOY points at the end of the year from each state. Their biggest team sanctioned trail in their state, the top five in points from those trails all got to go fish an event as a team for 2 days, and then the top five teams after 2 days split into solos, and those or actually it was the top three. The top three teams after 2 days split into solos, and those 6 guys fished against each other for a spot to fish in the Bassmaster Classic for 2 days. That's the way it was.
That's
And
interesting.
I fished one of those on North Fork up on, uh, it was up North Arkansas. It's the
Nice.
only one I ever fished.
Yeah, so I qualified for the Bass Nation tournament through One Bass. So
Yeah.
I qualified through that 3 points. I finished 8th overall, which was
Yeah.
a grind.
Awesome.
No, it was
Yeah.
fun. It was a good
Yeah.
year. I
Mm-hmm.
never fished Shasta until this year, which was cool, and
Yep.
which is a cool lake.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Anytime you get to fish those, those clear, deep impoundments full of big smallmouth or spots, it's always a blast. I'd love to get out there and fish Shasta or Bullards, if that's how you say it. I believe it is Bullards Bar. Isn't that it? Isn't
I
that
don't
the
know. I've
ones that
never
got
heard
the
of it.
giant spotted bass, the ones that caught the world records out of?
Oh,
Or
that's
that's it.
I think that's is it in California?
Pretty sure it is.
Well, there's another place in Oregon. I think it's called Cottage Grove.
Yeah, I've heard of them too. They've got mega spots as well. But then the Clear Lake, I want to go fish it really
Oh,
bad too.
if
Um,
you can,
yeah.
just one year, if there's for some reason it's just you have time on your schedule, you need to fish the one
Hmm.
bass at Clear Lake.
Yeah, I would love to. I know my dad went out there a couple times, said it was phenomenal. Catch like 25 pounds a day and don't even do any good.
Yeah, I caught 20 the first day, 27 and a half the second day, and then I had 2 for 13 on the last day.
Wow.
That lake, it's such a good lake, and they're growing in there. There's like your
Yeah.
average is like a 3 pounder, and that's a
Hmm.
rat there. So you're throwing those
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
Or
That would be crazy.
you'd be shaking your minnow in front of a dock, and 10 pounder comes out. It's just a casual thing. It just happens
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. I would love to come fish that one in January, but I can't because it's literally the last day of that tournament's like the first day of practice, our first Bass Pro Tour event on Guntersville. If it was the week after that, or a week before it, I would probably fly out there and borrow a boat somehow and just fish
Yeah.
it. Um, but there again, then I have to bring all my stuff and it'd be a pain. And I mean, to Clear Lake from my house is 31 hours,
Oh my. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just too far. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
deal. It's just too far.
Yeah. It's great. Like it's like us going to like back east for you to come out here west. It's the same thing. You have
Hmm.
the 31 plus hour drives, but to come out here and then leave with a Ranger bass boat and 75 G's,
Yeah.
there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. And Mojave ain't that bad. It's 19 hours. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
I drive at least 2 PPTs a year that far.
Yeah.
So it's not that big a deal. St. Lawrence River is 22 plus hour. It's 22 and a half hours for me. Champlain's 20. Potomac River is 18. Anywhere in upstate Michigan is 16. So Florida, Okeechobee's 21 hours for me. So I don't mind driving 19, but 31, I'm like, I can drive 19 in a day. But 31, that's 2 full days of driving. It's
Yeah,
just,
that's a
I
lot of
don't
drive.
really want to, yeah, I don't really want to do that.
It makes sense just to throw 10 rods and a couple tubes then just get a check bag full
Yeah.
of baits, and then you're good. Just hop on a
Hmm.
plane.
Yeah. Or just, ship some stuff out there I think I might need and roll up and fish it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. They also have 2 crazy tackle stores with everything in them. So it's not like you can't just go buy some
Yeah.
stuff either. But
Yeah.
yeah, so hopefully later this year, I'm going to fly out to Chickamauga with my buddy Marcus. I think you met Marcus. He was the kid that has the super long hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we
Yeah.
fished a high school national tournament out there, the championship, because we qualified through Nevada Bass together. So we want to go back out later this year and just go pull on some ledge fish.
Oh, it'll be fun.
I love Chickamauga. That place is so cool. Just that whole
Yeah.
chain of lakes, Watts Bar and Chickamauga, and just such
Yeah.
a
It was really good 8 years ago. It
yeah.
was, oh my gosh, it was incredible. I mean, it's still a great fishery, but 8 years ago, that place was insane.
It was great. Before live scope, it was great. Live scope tears everything up, but I can't. I love live scope. I went on a guide trip. I taught people how to live scope today. That's what I did.
Yeah.
And
I think more than anything, it's not the scope of the fisheries, it's the tournament pressure. I mean,
yeah,
Chickamauga, when I started fishing it in my career 8 years ago, you just didn't really hear a lot of tournaments there. I mean, they had a lot of local events, but there wasn't a lot of big tournaments going there on a regular basis. And then the high school fishing got started up, the college fishing started getting really big, and you're talking about everybody's going there. I mean, there's 2 tournaments a weekend with 150 plus boats, and at the end of the day, a moral of the story, these fish are being killed. It's not anything other than that. It's just there's too many tournaments uh, with that many boats, and they start hitting a lake over and over and over. I mean, it's the same thing happening in Kentucky Lake. They can say Asian carp all they want, but there's as many Asian carp in there now as there was 6, 7 years ago when I first started seeing it really decline. Uh, I can't tell that there's any fewer Asian carp in there now. I mean, I know they've caught millions of pounds of them things out of there with nets, gill nets and stuff. But at the end of the day, you would roll up to a boat ramp after that Triton owner tournament, and there'd be 200 bass floating dead.
yeah.
That goes to taking a toll on a fishery. I mean, that's what happened to it. I mean, it's really no different on Chickamauga, in my opinion. It's them lakes like that really were affected. They didn't have a lot of grass in them then. Kentucky Lake had some grass up around like New Johnsonville and stuff, but it didn't have a lot below Paris towards the Kentucky Down Village that I ever found. And then Chick, it had incredible grass in it at one point too. But Gunnersville, one thing that just really helps it gets beat to death just like that, but it is full of grass.
Oh yeah.
And just super full of grass. And I just feel like so many more fish make it to a legal catch size. Just a bigger percentage of them survive to get to 3+ pounds when they have that kind of grass and those kind of places to hide, to get big enough to where they can start eating things big enough to get them to that size. Obviously, Gunnersville's probably got a lot more fish in it than Kentucky Lake or Chickamauga ever thought about having because of the grass. But I also think a lot of those fish, like on those ledge lakes that were being caught 25 feet deep and stuff, some of them probably needed to be fizz. They would still be alive when they were released, but they're floating, or they just they don't have the strength to stay down deep enough to gain their strength back to be able to swim around and do their thing again. That's what hurts them. Release fish, not having anything to set in or around. Gunnersville's so, like I said, so full of grass that it's easy. Let one go. If she can just make it back down there to the grass, she can bog up in it and just lay there until she recoups. They just couldn't really do that on Kentucky Lake and Chickamauga back in the day. You let them go right there to bank or release boat, they might swim away, but 5 minutes later they're floating back up on top, and they never do survive when that happens.
It's a lot of guys don't know how to properly take care of fish in the live well.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's like in a hobby, you have some, like during like 2022, it got to like 125 degrees, something like that. One of the practice days, and like the first day of the tournament, it was super hot. And I remember my boater, because I was a co-angler at the time, he was having me ice the live wells because the water would get hot as crap inside the live wells because it's not that deep. The live well is probably like 1.5 feet deep, the most. Yeah. But they just get hot, and then those fish, they'd die because they'd get too hot in there. Or a lot of guys I've talked to, they forget to turn on their oxygenator in their live wells, and then their fish just die.
Yeah. I was carrying five 16-pound bags of ice with me every day and putting one in there about every 2 hours.
You got to. I freeze a bunch of water bottles, and then I'll just put 2 or 3 at a time in each live well, and then it's good, and that's it. And I put some fish IV stuff in there or G juice, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Especially for smallmouth, because largemouth, especially, they're a little bit more hardy than smallmouth, but But you just got to take care of your fish anywhere. Spots, largemouth, smallmouth. You got to, especially if you go hook a fish and it starts bleeding, you got to get on that. You can't just throw it in your live well and hope for the best.
No doubt.
But so that's why I like the BPT format. You're not keeping fish in the live well. You wait and it's gone. That's it. Then you're back
There's
at
a lot of fish gets caught in the BPT that if it was put in a live well and toted around to go to the 5 fish weigh-in, that fish is dead, 100%. And the fact that we catch them, weigh them, and release them, that fish almost. I mean, I'm not going to say that there's not a fish or two caught in a day that maybe was gut hooked or something, but that's not going to end up making it. But a lot of fish that were hooked in places where they're bleeding, uh, or just from stress or being caught really deep or needed to be fizzed when they were caught. If that fish had been put in a live well, she's not going to make it, a lot of them. But when you catch them, weigh them, and release them, that fish is almost 99.9% of them is going to survive every time.
Yep. That's why it's good for places like OHIV and Lake Fork where those fish need to be put back and not towed back to a weigh-in.
Yeah.
Especially
the tournaments are going that way to where it's going to be catch, weigh, and release eventually at some point everywhere, which it should be.
It's just so much better for the fisheries. It lets it gives those fish the opportunity to get down there and just keep thriving.
Yep. And there's times where I wish it was put 5 in a lot. I mean, I love taking care of them for one. I've always been infatuated with them. Even when I was just a little kid, we go to the Bassmaster Classic, and my dad, I think in my 18 years of, or I lived at home till I was almost 20, but he only missed the Classic one time in 18 years of living at home. I remember when I was a little kid, we go to Classic. My favorite thing to do was get up in the boats, open the live well. I mean, I always wanted to look in live well. And we kept a lot of fish when growing up as a kid. I mean, largemouth, 5, 6, 7, 8 pounders. I mean, we kept them. It's just the way it was. Fishing was incredible back then too, and everybody kept everything they caught, which is weird. Kind of go against what we're talking about here. But I remember we fished Monday nights and Tuesday night tournaments, and there was no fish got released. There was 2 giant ice chests at every weigh-in. You weighed them in a 5-gallon bucket and one of these dial scales.
Yeah.
And as soon as you weighed them, poured them in that bucket, you took them off the hanger in the bucket, they went right into the ice chest.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the way it was growing up. But anyways, I was always obsessed with looking at live wells and stuff. And I still, to this day, I enjoy opening a live well. Out there at Mojave, I open a live well 15 times a day to check on my fish, maybe 20. I don't know. I open it a lot just to make sure they're okay. Add a little G juice, a little bit more ice. But I just always enjoyed doing that. And then there's times, like I said, another scenario is sometimes I'll be on a group of fish in a Bass Pro Tour event, and I know if I didn't have to throw the fish back that I just weighed, I would be able to catch another one or two. And so many times you release that fish and you go straight back to the school and it just screws it all up. And I'm like, it sucks, because that fish would, in most cases, go to the weigh-in because it was a 3.5 pounder and there's 15 more of them sitting there, but he's going to get back down there before I'm able to get in there and catch another one, and they're gone. So, but for the most part, it's not worth throwing them in the live well. I mean, I would vote every day catch, weigh, and release only.
Yeah, it was nice though when I was able to look at 27 pounds in my live wells though.
Yeah, they're pretty laying in there.
Yeah, you see that 8+ pound largemouth just beefed up in your live well. It's good to look at that thing. Makes you feel good.
Yeah, for sure. I love seeing them too.
But 103 pounds in 3 days at Clear Lake. So good. And that lake, it's like the lake gets better every year. It's not like it's getting worse. The lake gets better every single year we go there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how many tournaments they have there in a year. I mean, I'm sure quite a few. And Mojave, I mean, you don't really hear of a lot of tournaments there. Just the U.S. Open, pretty much, I think, is about it, isn't it?
There's so many. There's a tournament out there every weekend.
Oh, is it really? So does. They get beat on a lot? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, not for being out there, but I mean, it's a healthy fishery, no doubt.
They got ABA out here, the little Bass Nation Club tournaments. there's just so many. I don't even know all of those circuits. There's a tournament out there like every weekend.
Yeah. They all take usually over 20 pounds to win for the most part.
A couple of weeks ago, it was like I think it was 2 weeks before the U.S. Open. There's a Nevada Bass Anglers tournament there. I think it took like 16 to win, 16, 17. But they went out of Willow.
Yeah.
And not a lot of guys like to run way far because it's way up there. Willow's up there.
Yeah, I've never been up there before.
It's super pretty. It goes from super wide to like narrow slots. It's super cool up there. Yeah, and then there's a lot of current up there.
I'm gonna have to go up there and check it out someday. I'd love to go up there and just mess around.
Yeah, it's super. I like to just if I'm fun fishing on my hobby, I'll run up there. They're not the biggest up there. The bigger ones are way down from Willow, but it's super cool. You'll every once in a while you look down and you'll see like a 50-pound striper just cruising.
Oh yeah, water really clear too.
Yeah, because the current's always pushing, the water just clear. But every once in a while you'll see a giant largemouth chill like cruising with a striper. Like I've seen a couple largemouth in there pushing 10.
Oh yeah, yeah. I saw one 2 years ago like that up there, or not up there, but on the lake.
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember I fished a bass tournament up there, and it was like a little bit like pre-spawn, but there's a few on bed. But I remember I was going, and I was like it was right before you go into the basin. There's just this super like narrow cut. It wasn't that deep. It was like 15. I look on my live scope. There's a brush pile. I throw my minnow, dupe it up. I caught a 6-pound largemouth. I was like, oh my gosh! And it had like 5 with it, but they wouldn't go.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest largemouth I've caught in there.
Yeah, I caught one almost 7 out of there the very first year we went in practice, and I saw one last year she was over 10, and thought I was gonna catch her. She got hot all over my stuff 2 different times. I just caught a 4 1/4-pound largemouth like 3 casts before, and I just knew that fish was going to eat, and she never did. Obviously, catch that fish, I win last year.
Yeah.
But it was a giant. I mean, she was 10, 10.5-pound largemouth, but I catch a pile of 3.5s in that place, largemouth. I mean, this year especially, I caught a bunch of good largemouth.
They're everywhere.
But, yeah, I've never weighed a largemouth in a tournament there, though. It's always been all smallmouth.
Did you call out that 4.5 largemouth, 4 1/4?
4 1/4. Yeah, that's what I was about to tell you. I had that fish in live. I caught her at like a 10:45, and it was a 403 largemouth. That's what it was. She was just over 4 pounds, and I called like a 395 smallmouth with her. And I told her that largemouth in live well all day. It should have been a 5-pounder. It was the poorest looking largemouth I've ever caught there. It's real skinny, huge head, like a 7-pound frame. It only weighed 402. And 5 minutes before I checked in, I caught a 427 smallmouth and called out that largemouth. I almost weighed in a largemouth that day. That was last year. I think I had like 23 and a little over 23.5 that day, I believe. It was the very last day of the tournament last year. But yeah, I called that largemouth out with 5 minutes left to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like doing the one basses when a day gets canceled. It's just I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
They're not cheap to fish.
Mm-mm.
Especially for you, for how far you come out here, but it was the right call. It was blowing.
Yep, thank goodness I was boat 10 on day 1, so I got there early. That second day, we got up, and my wife got up, and we hadn't even made it out of the place we were staying yet when I got the text. We hadn't even walked out of the building. We were walking to the doors to walk out the building to go to my truck and boat. And I got the text, and so we just turned around.
There you go.
Hung out for a little while, went back to the place and watched TV that morning.
Nice.
Yeah, so I didn't make it all the way out there and have to reload my boat and all that, but that was a disaster.
Yeah, my boat, we got there. Billy just turned us around. He said, "Go, we're canceled." I was like, "Oh." We went to Lake Havasu that day though.
Oh, was it good?
We just bank fished, but I went and spent a bunch of money at the tackle shop.
Oh, there you go.
Kind of regret it, but I got some glide baits I got to go blast around now.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But I had a really big largemouth on the first day. I just drove my boat into one of the steeper walls with like cuts with the steep walls. I just blast a hinkle shot in there. It goes, and I just see a shadow just trailing it. It was probably like 6 pound largemouth. It was big.
Oh, it Havasu?
No, Mojave.
Oh, Mojave. Oh, okay.
On that first day when it was super windy.
Oh, yeah.
That first day sucked though. It was blowing.
It was rough.
At like 10 o'clock, I'm sitting there, I'm trying to live scope. I'm like, dude, we're live scoping like 4-footers right now. This is not fun.
Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. No doubt.
Like, it was jacking them. First fish of the morning, it was 4.8 on my Bubba scale. I was like, come on, keep this rolling.
Heck yeah.
Catch us 20 pounds right now.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
nice.
But for that, it's good comfort. For your first fish of the morning to be a 4.5 pounder.
Yeah, it makes things go a little smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You caught it right away. It was fast.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah. But then but towards the end of the day, I had a late day. I was doing at 5:10.
Yeah.
So I was out there for a while.
Oh yeah.
So we're out there. I was like, we just did everything we could to catch a fish. We just couldn't do it. I lost one right by the bow. I'm like, dude, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But that last day, so I had on the last day, I think it was like 103, tiny little rat smallmouth. And I'm going, I'm like maybe like 2 minutes away from the marina. I could see the marina. I could hear Billy pretty much. I'm going. I look. There's one right under the boat, so I drop my deal down there. I shake it, and it just goes. I was like, oh, thank goodness. It was a 3 1/4. It called out that 1-3, and then we went and weighed in.
Sweet.
Which that felt good to get rid of that little tiny squeaker.
Yeah, no doubt.
But I caught fish everywhere on that last day. I pulled up to a point that I found I caught like a 4.5 on in practice, and they were just loaded right there. So I caught my limit really quick. Then I jumped off like a 5. Then we left, and then I just fished around everywhere, and I started catching fish. I'm like, we could put something together. And then I called, I think like 3 times that day. I just couldn't get any 4+ pound bites, and that was just the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't catch that many 4-pounders there this year like I typically do. See, 2 days, the 2 days of the tournament, I only weighed in 8 fish out of my 10 fish over 4 pounds. I had 3 the first day, and then 2 395s, and then the last day I had all over 4-pounders. And but dude, every weigh fish I weighed in that event came before 8:30. It was weird. Usually I catch 4-pounders, 4 to 405s, 410s. I catch them from start to finish consistently every year I've been out there, except this year I caught them all before 8:30, and everything else after that was from 360 to 395. That's just the way it was every day, or both of the days of the tournament. And I never caught but like probably a dozen over 4 pounds the 2 days I practiced. And that's from daylight to dark. So, you get 14 hours out there. And of course, I wasn't like trying to catch, I wasn't fishing stretches that I typically would fish in a tournament either. Just looking at some off the wall type stuff. And I didn't catch a dozen. I probably caught like 6 in 2 days over 4 pounds. But I caught a bunch that I thought were going to be 4-pounders. And I'd weigh them, they'd be like 392. 394, and then in the tournament, what was weird, I guess because I caught so many like that in practice, in the tournament, I caught most of my 4-pounders, over 4-pounders, I was like, that's a 385 or a 390, and then I'd put it on the scale, and it'd be like 415 or 426 or 428, and I'm like, dang, that fish don't look any bigger than a 390 I caught in practice. It was really weird. I mean, I had a 5-pounder the last day, weighed 498. Well, 498 on the one bass scales. I mean, it was a 479 on my scales, which I got the Rapala, the handheld Rapala ones. They're always a little lighter than what they weigh on actual tournament scales.
Yeah.
And anyway, she weighed 479 on my Rapala scales. And dude, when she came up to jump, I had this 19-year-old kid with me that lives there at Lake Havasu. You probably know him. Guy fished with me last day. I don't know, but anyways, he was with me, and she come up and jumped, and I'm like, another freaking rat. It was like I figured it was like a 375 or a 380. And he's like, dude, that's a big one. I'm like, no, it ain't. It's not even a 4 pounder. And I'm just winching her on in like I had all of them. And finally, she came here by the boat. I'm like, dang, she is a better one. I was like, she's over 4 for sure. And he scooped her up when he got her in the net. I'm like, dude, that one's over 4.5. You know, they're really deceiving out there because they're all like I don't know. I don't catch when I go out there. I mean, I do every now and then. I'll catch them, but I rarely ever catch a smallmouth on my hobby under 3 pounds. It's very rare. Like I feel like a better shot catching a 5 pounder there than I do one under three. It just seems like they're all really solid. The
Yeah,
ones I
they're
catch.
built.
I don't know if it's just where I'm targeting them that no little ones really get in those kind of zones or what, but they're always usually a 3.5 to a three and a high three. That's most of the ones I catch. But they 390 really doesn't lengthwise isn't any smaller than a mid four. It's like something to do with the girth. A mid four is just a little bigger around.
Yeah,
Yeah, 390 is a little narrower.
yeah, they're
I
not.
don't know if
They're
yeah,
tall and thick there.
yeah. So they're all kind of about the same length. It's just kind of depending on the girth of them. I mean, it's going to where most of your weight's coming from. That's the difference, really.
Yeah, that's just like with a lot of places that have smallmouth, like in the West. If you find us, you catch one that's super thick,
Yeah,
like Lake Mead. Like I've caught some that are supposed to be in like that 5+ pound range, and they only weigh like 4.5.
yeah,
But but Lake Mead fish, they all look sick there. I caught a
yeah,
largemouth that should have been like 4.5, 5, and it was like 380.
yeah. I don't know. I haven't been there before, so I can't speak for it. But it must just be a lack of food source, and there is no lack of food source in my hobby. I mean, I've caught like 2 or 3 bass there ever that look unhealthy.
I
You
caught
know,
one smallmouth that was like that. It was sick, and that's it. I caught it on a spinnerbait in
yeah,
2 foot water.
yeah, and that's probably why. I was up there, didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
But
he's so confused.
yeah, the crawfish in that place must just be they must be crawling over each other down there on the bottom
Seriously.
because they puke them suckers up everywhere in your live wells.
Yeah. But Lake Mead, there's so many threadfin shad. Like, there's not a bait deficiency there. It's like there's almost too
Yeah,
much bait, but they're competing against this. There's stripers. There's so
yeah,
many striper in Lake Mead.
mm,
Like you catch more striper there than you catch bass.
mm. Yeah. Maybe it's just harder for them to get them. I don't know. Crawfish don't typically tend to, from what I've seen in videos, it just doesn't seem like crawfish really try and run from a predator.
Yeah.
They sit there and try to stand their ground. Well,
Yeah.
you know who's going to win that battle every time.
Yeah. Who's gonna
Um,
win? 4-inch
yeah,
crawfish or a 9-pound largemouth? I got my
yeah,
bet made.
yeah. And shad, they're pretty good at scattering and
Yeah.
getting away from them. Maybe they have to burn a lot more energy to try and catch shad. I guess maybe so. That maybe is why they're a little skinnier there.
They're not just like they look like paper. Like the
Really.
weight,
Okay.
like the weight there, like if you're gonna catch like a big one there is like 4 pounds and it looks like it's made of paper.
Yeah.
Looks like an
Yeah.
art project.
Yeah.
It's kind of sucks. But
I've been places like that.
do you think Mojave fishes like New York lakes, like St. Clair or something like that, just a little bit, or
Mm, no, not the way there's not the way it's set up. Definitely not like St. Clair. Nothing fishes like St. Clair. That of course that's in Michigan, but that's St. Clair's totally different from anywhere you'll fish. I mean, there's no contours. It's just a big bowl, and there it's figuring out how many miles offshore they are, and that's the depth basically. Like it's a foot deep on the bank, and 3 miles offshore it's 4 foot deep, and another 3 miles offshore it's 8 feet deep, and another 3 miles offshore it's 12 feet deep. You know what I mean? Like it's just very slow taper. It's not really in contour lines other than the shipping canal, or I mean the shipping channel that runs through there. Um, but like St. Lawrence River and the Great Lakes, I mean, nowhere's better than the Great Lakes. period, largemouth or smallmouth. I mean, the Great Lakes are the best fisheries in the world. But they're kind of the same way. I mean, lot more rock, but there's places where there's not a lot of contour. It's a little bit flatter. There'll be some drops in places, some spots that have drop offs on them, off some reefs and stuff. But Mojave fish is more like my lakes, kind of around here, and like Tennessee areas, like Del Hollow, for instance. It sets up a lot like that. Steeper banks, points, humps. It just sets up like a lake. Uh, they fit, and they are lake smallmouth, obviously. So it just kind of fishes like a lake, really, in my opinion. I mean, even though it's in the middle of the desert and there's no trees, they don't know where they're at.
Yeah.
They're just setting up on what they have to offer. I've never been anywhere where you're like, oh man, these bass here don't even act like they do anywhere else in the country, dude. It don't matter if you're at Mojave or Lake Murray in South Carolina. I mean, you have lakes that you jive with, but they all set up the same. I mean, they get on what they get on. They're wood, rock, grass, or sand, basically, or docks. I mean, whatever docks, it's wood. Some of them are metal, some are wood, some are floating. Just they all kind of set up the same way. Whatever it has to offer. I mean, they don't know where they live, you know. Um, and so they pretty much whatever it has to offer. And Mojave's got a lot of rock. Uh, Not a lot of like offshore rock, it doesn't seem like to me. I mean, like fish size stuff, but it's not like you got just giant boulders out there. Really doesn't seem like all that's up shallower on them steeper banks is where you've got like your really big rock.
Yep.
But they just kind of get out there, roam around. They sit on, little drops where, how a lot of points on Mojave, they'll run out and be 30 foot on the tip of them, and they all drop 35 to 50 foot of water on the edges, on the sides, and they just kind of get on them contour lines and just cruise around.
Yeah, but you had Ben looking nervous on that hot seat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty for a while. It was pretty close, but then you brought in 21 and kind of blew it out of the water a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, win's a win. 2 ounces or about 2 pounds. I think if I end up, I don't remember what his total was. It was 39, like 39.30 or 60 or something. I had 41.16 or 41.15, 41.16. No, 41.19, I think is what it was. No, 42.19. Or was it 41? I don't know. Anyways, it was over 40 pounds. But yeah, I mean, I knew I had given myself a chance on that last day catching over 21. I'd said going into it, if I catch 21 today, I'd be satisfied. And so to be able to go out there and do it, that day one, it was just spanning the wind. It was so bad. There was a lot of stuff you couldn't fish. I mean, if you didn't fish it before 8:30, and I mean, even when we took off that morning at 6:45, it was already 3.5 footers rolling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Down at the ball, it was rough. It took me 30 minutes to get to where I started, and typically it would took me 10. And I was boat 10, so it wasn't like I had to run a bunch of boat traffic either, and wakes from that. Um, but day two, when we got to fish that final day, I mean, you could do anything you want. It was six to last till 2:45. I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't a breath of wind all day, so made it a lot easier. So I knew the weights were going to be a lot lower that first day. I told my guys, like, man, if we can just get to 20, we're going to be way ahead of the game. And I mean, I knew we were close. We had 1969 is what I had that first day, and had that by 8 o'clock that morning, and just never could call. Like I said, I had like a 398 and a 395, and caught a pile of 380 to 390s. Just never caught another solid 4+ pounder. But that day too, I was kind of worried because even though I knew I had over 21, mid 21, I just felt like any of them guys could catch 22, 23, or 24 even though it's only happened a couple times ever there. And a guy did catch over 23 pounds smallmouth
Yeah.
that final day. Just so happened he only had like 9 pounds on day one.
Yep.
But it's just that place has got some really big ones in it. So, when you guys are starting to learn scope and stuff, you get out there and drift around all day looking. You never know when a guy's going to put in front of 2 6s in a day with 3 4 pounders, and you're in trouble, you know.
Yeah, if I
I mean,
wanted a chance to a top 10, I would need like 28 pounds.
yeah, yeah. It's not likely out there unless I'm missing it somehow. I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm not. I catch them pretty good there, but I've caught so many smallmouth on that place, just thousands of them in the four years I've gone there, and I've literally only caught 4 smallmouth ever out of my hobby over 5 pounds. Caught 2 over 6. I've caught 2 more in that 5 1/4 to 5 3/4 pound range, and they've all been in practice, obviously. I've never caught a 5 pounder in a tournament. I had a 498 this year. That last day is closest I've ever gotten. But I know it's got some 7 to 8, probably even maybe even potentially a 9 pound smallmouth in it. I mean, y'all's water don't get extremely cold out there. So the growing season for them,
I think someone caught a 9 in the winter.
yeah, I mean, they've got an incredibly long growing season. They've definitely got the food in there to get big, which they already, I mean, they are big. If they can get 5 pounds, they can get 7 pounds. Um, I've never caught one of them giants out of there, but I just catch a lot of 4 pounders, man. That's it. That's the deal for me. It's like just getting 1 or 2 bites a day over 4.5. That's really hard.
Yeah. There's enough water that you can go do it there.
Yeah.
They live 4.5, 5 pound smallmouth. They live everywhere on that lake. You just gotta present your bait correctly to them.
Yeah. I think it's just putting it in front of one more than anything. I think if you get your bait in front of one, she's going to eat, or at least the way I fish it anyways. I mean, I feel like if I catch, you know, on average, I catch 30 to 40% of what I throw at in a day there, which is very high percent because most places you go, you're only catching like probably 5%.
Yeah.
But I mean, even certain places on the Great Lakes, like little sneak holes that I know about on the Great Lakes that don't get a lot of pressure, hasn't ever been talked about. You catch like 100%, but that's because they're very uneducated. Those smallmouth in the hobby are pretty educated. I feel like, especially by day 3 of that event. Really, by the time tournament starts, it's got like 8 9 days of practice for the U.S. Open. But for the pressure they get, they bite really well. And I just don't feel like I've never really thrown at one out there that I'm like, that is a giant. You know what I mean? And if I have, it's typically a largemouth.
Yeah.
And it's in an area where I'm catching largemouth. So I already know it, and it's not like it's a smallmouth. And I don't see a lot of big largemouth in there either. They're kind of the same way. They're all about 3.5 to 4 pounders.
Yeah, every once in a while you'll see that elusive mega, just
yeah.
But yeah, on that last day of the U.S. Open, I caught everything but 2 I casted at.
Yeah, you catch them for sure.
But that was they're dumb and smart in there. You just gotta cast at all the dumb ones and just leave the smart ones alone.
Yeah.
You just gotta hope there's a big old dummy just waiting down there.
Yeah.
Just waiting with his eyes up for ice, and then.
Yeah.
But dude, thanks for having me to let you like interview, and you being on my podcast has been awesome.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
But
I appreciate it.
I'm guessing you're coming back out next year.
Absolutely. Yep. I'll be there every year, Lord willing.
Yeah. There you go. I'm wishing you the best for your BPT season this year, and go smash them up, man.
I appreciate it, man. We're gonna go out there and give it everything we got. I'm looking forward to it. I'm ready for January and hurry up and get here.
Yeah, I know. I'm excited for Clear Lake.
Yeah, I bet. I'll be watching.
Yeah. I'm hoping for like 30 a day. Maybe just give me a chance.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go pull Steve Kennedy and roll a big swim around.
Yeah. Just fish for 5 bites, huh?
Throw that big swim bait, big line all day, and then maybe an A-rig, and leave the spinning rods under the deck and go fish for 5 bites until it's 12 o'clock, and then I got a spinning rod in my hand.
Oh, yeah. You got to pull it out somewhere or another.
Yep. That's just how it goes. Spinning rod on the deck anyway.
Yep. Always.
Sweet. Thanks, Spencer.
Yes, sir, man. We'll see you, buddy.
Yep.